Welcome back, everyone, to Bandit Keith Should Have Won Duelist Kingdom. Welcome back to What If God Was a Cat Girl. Welcome back to John Wick Murdered Shao Tucker. Alright, everyone, welcome back to the Anime Therapy Podcast, Episode 8. Today, with me, for the first session ever of your permanent standing as my Anime Therapy Podcast co-host, Matt. We don't have lives. This is all we look forward to every week. And we just vibe so well together. And I am holding him hostage. So if you want Matt to have his freedom back, subscribe to my Patreon.
Also subscribe to the channel, you know?
Yeah.
And now my stand is co-host. So, you know, I actually have a stand, which is great. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm becoming more of a JoJo's character every single day.
Yeah.
So.
Is your stand JRE?
Dude, I wish. If only.
It's just a big three-eyed monkey.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, little technical difficulties. We recorded about 5 minutes with no audio, but it's all good. And
we're professionals on here, okay?
Yeah.
We know what we're doing.
Yeah. And it was actually the best 5 minutes of our podcast. It was so crazy, but this is just a tribute to that. This isn't even...
You had to be there.
Had to be there, yeah. Yeah, so let's talk about some anime, man. Have you been catching up on anything? Like, have you like, I know that we've talked plenty about like this. We need to start watching these, right? We need to catch up on these. Have you been doing that?
So, only seasonal anime I've been watching is Chainsaw Man and then Spy Family. So those I'm up to date on. And then I've been watching a few other anime in between just to kind of like, you know, take them in based off of suggestions from previous people on this podcast, as well as just things in general where I have a really long queue of things that it's like my video. It's like my video game queue. It's like I have about like 50 anime and like 50 video games that I still need to play, and we just slowly get there. Yeah, you know.
You know what's funny? I have a video game queue, not even working on it because I'm playing all games that I've already played. That's what I spend all my gaming time doing, because as a PlayStation gamer now, I just want to get those platinum trophies in the games that I have already gotten all the achievements in. So I've been playing Lego Harry Potter, Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm series, the Assassin's Creed games. So I feel you. Anime, even more backlogged on that. But I am catching up on season 2 of Dr. Stone. I know that's brand new. And, you know, it's still week to week.
Yeah, my normal anime watching style is for seasonal stuff. I'll wait until it's all out just because I want to kind of enjoy the story completely, as opposed to like watch episode 1, wait a week, and then episode 2, and then wait a week. Because I feel like there are some episodes that when you watch them week to week, they still hit really hard, but they hit even harder when you like go straight into the next episode. Yeah, like episode 8 is that, dude, have you watched episode 8? Have you watched episode 8? I feel like the biggest one in a long time was like, I think it was like Demon Slayer episode 19.
It was,
or something like that.
That's the one that broke
and
the
it was
internet.
And everyone was like, bro, you watch that shit?
Yeah.
You watch that? And that episode just has so much more impact when you watch the series all the way through, as opposed to you watch episode 19 and it's like, oh my god, and then you're just sitting waiting for episode 20 to come out.
Like, and the same, and you know what's funny is that hype happens with episode 19, and then episode 20 comes out and it's like, yo, did you see episode 20? It's like, yeah, I mean, we all did, right? There's nothing special about it, right? So it's like that episode prior kind of shadows the next week's episode. I mean, I'll say this: Chainsaw Man episode was episode 5.
Yeah, episode 5.
I have the issue where I was like, I'm enjoying watching it week to week. It's the only one that I'm watching week to week. But episode 5 ended, and I was like, damn. Like, right in the middle, right, of shit about to go down. Where the first 4 episodes were like, something happens, and then it ends. Makes sense. Episode 5 is like, okay, now we're actually rolling into the story. So episode 5 ended. I'm like, oh man, I want to see what's next already.
Yeah, I mean that section's gonna take a little bit. Give me 1 second. There, got it. I killed a spider.
Oh, see, what I saw was, I'm guessing, a napkin. I thought it was a cat. I thought you literally grabbed a kitten and then threw it onto the ground.
No. It was a spider. Somebody was trying to be reincarnated as a spider, and I just said no to that anime.
So they are a spider, so what?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Trash, I killed it.
Yeah, I like how you use your Sharingan to catch him.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I mean, I've seen too many shonens to not have those types of reflexes at this point. Yeah. You hear the Naruto battle music in the background, like.
Now, I talked to Skylar about this on our one-on-one episode, and a little bit with Kayleen. But do you rewatch anime at all, or do you just?
I rewatch anime that are like, for me, like in the 8 through 10 category. So, rewatchability is one of the biggest things for me as far as like, do I give anime a 10?
Mm-hmm.
Because if I don't want to rewatch it, then I can't give it a 10 because it's like, you know, if I don't want to rewatch it, it's not a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Right. So there are, like, all of my top 5 I've rewatched. So Attack on Titan, Steins Gate, Code Geass, Kaguya-sama, and Haikyuu. I've rewatched at least once.
Mm-hmm.
But I find there's very rarely the desire to rewatch anime as opposed to watching something new.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's interesting for me to revisit stories when, you know, I am in a bit of a lull period.
Oh,
yeah. But I'd rather, you know, visit a new universe, or take a different author's direction with something, as opposed to rewatching something that I've already experienced.
Yeah, I what really like makes a difference for me is, do I feel like I want to rewatch something now that I know everything? And if it's no, then it's typically going to be like a romance, or, you know, slice of life, or a shorter anime. Where, like, Naruto, I've rewatched Naruto probably 3 or 4 times, because after the first time of watching it, then going back and rewatching, and after it was all done, it was like, I now know everything, so now I want to see all the little ins and outs and all the things that I could have missed.
Kind of understanding those relationships a little more, where it's like, you'll see it in some pop culture where it's like, someone's been the villain the entire time and you didn't really know it. I see that sometimes in like those anime where it's very, you know, Among Us style, but it's set up where it's like you have a group of people together and one of you is doing something to screw over the rest of you, right? And you watch the anime and you figure out who it is, and then when you rewatch it, it's like, oh, like he left the group then. Yeah. So that takes that into the thing that happened 2 episodes.
Oh, I wonder when he wasn't here if he was doing that one thing. Yeah. Durarara is a lot like that. Where it's because it's a story told throughout multiple characters and all around one thing, but it's everybody's different perspectives. And then you find out, you know, I'm not going to say spoiler because Durarara's been out since 2010. But when you find out that the main character, the innocent one, is actually running the biggest gang um, uh, in Tokyo. I love the name of it too, but I can't remember the name of it. It starts with an I. It's a part in Tokyo, but anyways, you totally get that, and I think Code Geass has that same thing. You rewatch Code Geass because you see what happens at the end, and then you're like, oh, I want to re-see how he made all these steps to get there, because when I was watching it, I didn't know what was gonna happen, so I was always worried about, is it gonna work? Is it not gonna work? And then once you see that, how it all works out, you're like,
Yeah.
oh wow, he knew the whole time. Dude,
There
I
we
was
go.
gonna
That's
ask
much
you, but
better.
I didn't know when to cut the conversation to ask you.
That's much better. Yeah.
So much better. Okay. Yeah. So I do like. I also just rewatch anime in English because I'll be playing a game.
Yeah, you have the multitask type of brain where it's like it's hard to focus on one thing solely. So like having something in the background that's going on with English is, makes sense. I have a really hard time doing that. I like to have my attention, fully focused on one thing. I've tried doing that before. Like I used to do that a lot with Critical Role, which is a D&D podcast for those that are unaware. And so I'd be like playing a game, listening to Critical Role, and I'll be like missing things in both kind of thing, and it's just like, not really for me. So I take that into anime as well, where if I watch anime, it's the only thing I'm doing.
Yeah. I definitely cannot just sit down and only listen to Critical Role. Those are 4 to 6 hour long episodes. I can't just sit there and do nothing and listen to it. My brain visualizes and correlates and associates what I'm listening to me zoning out doing something else. So like I have great visuals in my head of things that have happened in the Critical Role campaign because I was paying attention to something else, and I was able to just think about that while and if I'm playing a video game for the first time, I'm not listening to anything else, because mainly what happens to me is I have to constantly have noise. I have to have sound. I have to have noise. If there's no sound going on, I go crazy. I just have to. So most of the time I'm playing a game that I've already played or don't need to listen to the sound for, and that's when I'll watch an anime, especially another one that I've already seen. I typically don't watch new anime in English. I try to watch it in Japanese.
I don't either.
Yeah. Like I'm rewatching Food Wars right now. Absolutely having the time of my life. I love that anime so much. I laugh so much because it's just so ridiculous. The things that people dislike about that anime are what make me laugh so much, because I can see the ridiculous like moans and clothes ripping and just be like, that's ridiculous, and then laugh. Where some people are like, this is ridiculous, I don't get it.
Yeah, there's a sect of anime where it's like, this is really just going to be what it's going to be, and if you don't like what it's doing, then obviously you're not gonna like the show, right? So like Food Wars is, it has shonen elements in it, right, with like competitions and stuff like that, but at the base of it, it's like, this is a show about ridiculously good food and the insane reactions that people have when they eat that food. And it's like, and it is sexualized, of course, but like, if you don't enjoy that about the show, then that's okay.
I mean, have you ever just taken a bite of like some amazing food and felt like your clothes were gonna rip off of your body? I have. First time I ever ate a Hot Pocket, my mind was blown. It's not 5-star cuisine, but hey man, the first time I had a pepperoni.
Yeah, man, those Totino's pizza rolls,
Dude.
they're really doing it.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. I got a second wind of those too because then we got an air fryer and then I had Tostino pizza rolls as air fried and I put like grated Parmesan cheese on it.
That's our food wars. That's the American food wars here.
Yeah.
Is how do I make pizza rolls better?
Yeah,
than...
how do I make the shittiest food taste the best that it possibly can?
Mm-hmm.
I stick with burgers because it's easy to make those good and they're never really bad unless you're eating Burger King. I'm just gonna throw it out there. My opinion, Burger King kind of sucks. But then again, I haven't had a Burger King since I was a kid because I thought it sucked. And as a kid, you're like, wait, how does a kid think that fast food tastes bad? That's all that they want to eat. They don't want to eat vegetables. Bruh.
Bad.
Yeah.
There've been a couple animes that I've watched since last time. I watched a couple of Kukos. Is that how you say it?
I don't know if that is.
And it's about two kids, a boy and a girl, that were switched at birth, and they get reintroduced to each other. They like come meet each other coincidentally, and the girl is engaged to somebody else, and to get out of it, she's like, you have to pretend to be my boyfriend. And you know, there's a reason why she can kind of blackmail him into that. And so he's like, fine, I'll pretend to be your boyfriend, you know, whatever.
And these are brother and sister?
So no, they aren't brother and sister. These were the kids that were swapped at birth. So one family picked up the kid and was like, this is our child. And the other family did that and was like, this is our child. When in fact, the other kid was their child.
Oh, they got Jerried. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So,
I was thinking twins that got separated.
No. Completely different children. So there's a family dinner that's had, and it's like, so they pretend to be boyfriend and girlfriend, and so the boy's biological father is like, I didn't realize you ran into, you know, Erica already. So you two are gonna get engaged. And it's like, oh, okay. The boy has a crush on like the smartest girl in school. She's like top of the class, insanely popular, you know, cute. Yeah. What basically she's got the resume, right?
Yeah. She's cocky,
yeah. And he's like, I'm gonna beat you and in school, and then I'm gonna confess to you, which he does, and she's like, I don't accept it. I've beaten you so many times, like you have to, you know, beat me an equal amount of times.
Yeah.
And he's like, bet.
Yeah.
And then there's this weird thing with like, so he has he was raised in his different family, right? His different family had another kid, which is his sister, which really isn't his sister, right? But you know, they've been raised together for so long, and the sister finds out that her brother isn't her brother. So she's like, my brother's not my brother. Like, and so there's that avenue.
Yeah. This is Sword Art Online, right?
Yeah, basically. The show doesn't go anywhere really relationship wise with any of them.
Okay.
Like, there are like very itty bitty developments that are made, but it was 24 episodes, and I was like, give me some more, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I want something, right? And there are some feel good moments in there, but I was just like, man, this was.
And what's it called?
5. A couple of Kukos.
Okay. See, I thought you were saying that you had watched a couple of, and then Kukos as a genre of animes.
No. That's like what the actual show is called. So I gave it a 5.
You gave it
And
5.
5 for me is like, you didn't do anything that made me hate the show, but you didn't do anything that made me like the show.
Gotcha.
So 5.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's I like that for a grading of an anime. For me, my 5s would be, I didn't love it, I didn't hate it, so kind of similar to you, but a 5 is not something I would recommend to someone.
Mhm.
Where a 6 is, I didn't love it, I didn't hate it, but if you have the time, check it out.
Yeah, you throw it out to specific people. Yeah.
Very specific people that I think would either feel the same or like it more, right? Depending on how much I know them. Speaking of animes that have been recommended, that are way more than 5, did you see the TikTok that I sent you most recently? I think I sent it to you at like 2 a.m.
The Haikyuu one, yeah.
Yes. It was someone got a tattoo of a part where Hinata was spiking, and it looked really cool. But my favorite part of it was that Fly High was playing in the background, and I was like, "Oh yeah, let's fucking go! This is the best song ever."
Best song ever.
Best song
no
ever.
song competes with it ever.
in Haikyuu openings is what I was going for, but you know, it's up there. It's probably like top 10 OPs for me. I mean, like I said, I'm watching Food Wars again, and you know, first opening, very enjoyable. First outro, also enjoyable. Then throughout, I'm like, yeah, you know, whatever. And then the train arc starts. The training advancement exam arc happens. And that opening, man, does it hit really hard. I mean, the visuals with, you know, what's his name? Akira and Soma doing the food, the placement exam with the bear meat. And in the opening, it shows like them going at each other with their like fucking shirts open, and they're just jacked for some reason.
Yeah.
And then there's a bear in the background, and right when that moment happens, the singing just it hits really hard. And you know, outros are always a mostly miss for me, but there are some outros out there that really do. What do the kids say? Slap.
They're bops. They hit different.
Mm-hmm. They're lit.
Yeah.
They're fire. Yeah.
Make them go sheesh.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I've been watching. I did just. So it's funny. I don't know if you've ever heard of an anime, little known anime called Maken Ki.
I have not. No.
It's one of those. Do you know Sekirei?
Mm-hmm.
And Freezing.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's a school with, like, Iki Towson, like, it's a school with girls who have fighting power, and they fight each other, and there's lots of boobas. Well, I own the 2 seasons of it, but I never actually watched it. Kind of just skimmed through the episodes for research purposes.
Of course.
And I was like, fuck it. I bought it in English. I'll just listen to it while I'm playing a game, right? It sucks. It's fucking terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I give it a 6.
Yeah.
I'd recommend it to very specific people for sure.
I get that type of anime where it's like, wow, this is absolute trash, but 8. Let's go.
Yeah. Honestly, kind of worth it. Kind of worth the watch because it sucks. I would say the main character is most like High School DxD main character. Unrelenting, unapologetically perverted, right? There's a common phrase in it that happens whenever him or the other main pervert guy who's his friend get caught and get beat up and set flying. They say, "I regret nothing" when they do it. Pretty funny.
As they should.
Yeah, exactly.
They should regret nothing. Yep.
Exactly. 2 ovas. You know, we love a good booby anime ova because those ovas are only there for one reason. Yeah, that's what I've been watching. I know. Oh, I've been catching up with Doctor Stone season 2, which I said. I'm having a hard time though because every time I find the time to want to sit down and watch something in sub, I'm laying in bed. I put the episode on. I fall asleep every single time. I'm watching one episode a day, maybe, because of that. But it's so entertaining, and talk about a great opening as well, which I told you about.
Yeah. So I also watched Violet Evergarden as well.
Oh, okay.
And
nice.
that show, man, it'll make you feel things for sure.
This was something that you watched in between the last time?
Yeah, so when Kayleen was on and she said that was her number one, I'm like, all right, if I haven't watched people's number ones, I've tried to make an effort to watch them, and just scrolling through Netflix, it's like, okay, I should give this thing a watch, right? Man, does that show like make you feel all different kinds of ways, like, the whole thing with like her.
I've only watched the first 2 episodes. I haven't even watched it all.
I mean, there, like, war has consequences, right?
Yeah.
And like in a society where, not a lot of people know how to read, like, if you're the person who's gonna write stories for people and like convey people's feelings, you're gonna hear a lot of different stuff from a lot of different people, and it's like some of the stories, because the episodes are kind of episodic, where it's like, okay, we're gonna see these people for this episode, and that's probably it.
Yeah.
They're obviously, main characters in there, but
there's one character that I'm like, damn, I want her to be in every episode, which is the redhead chick who's in charge of all of them,
Well, yeah,
makes me want to throw up my arms if I had any.
She knows how to write for sure.
Yeah.
And
that's my second Violet Evergarden no arms joke.
Yeah. It's just like it's good stuff, and it'll make you happy, it'll make you sad,
I talked about it a little bit with Kayleen, where I was like, it's rare to see such depth in a person that goes through the trauma that they do, right? And like, you don't really ever see like reclusion due to PTSD and trauma in anime very often.
Yeah.
You see it in Western culture a lot, but that's one of the things that I was like, oh, that's it's a pretty unique, I don't want to say MacGuffin, but story point, right? Is that that's the whole thing with her, is that she's writing letters, love letters, sad letters, but she can't convey the emotions the way that they want her to because of what she's gone through. She has a hard time understanding emotion.
She's like, you want to say this? Okay, say that.
Right.
And
exactly.
It's like, no, I want to say this, but I want it in a way where there's a little more finesse, or I'm coming at it like indirectly.
Yeah.
And she's just like, I don't get that.
Yeah. It's like using English slang and metaphors with someone from like the Netherlands, or not the Netherlands, but like some non-English speaking country, and it's like, oh yeah, that movie's the shit, right? They'll be like, why did they call the movie shit? Yeah. So I get that, and I'm glad you liked it. Does it affect like your list of anime? Not even your top 5.
It doesn't. It doesn't affect my top 5. I think. So Mal doesn't do like points. I think I gave it an 8. But if I could give it a point, I give it like an 8.5. Just because like I could definitely rewatch it. For sure. They
don't do halves. They don't do half.
I don't think they do halves.
Okay. I thought they did.
Which is which is interesting, but it makes sense because it's like
Yeah,
you
it
could
probably helps limit like for categories if people are looking for an 8 or a 9, right?
Mhm.
They don't have to specifically look. I'm looking for an 8.2, right, or an 8.7.
Right. I mean, it's gonna like average out to a certain number, you know, just because like that's just how it's gonna be. So you'll be on Mal and you'll see like, oh, this is an 8.4, but
Yeah,
people aren't giving it 8.4s. You know, it's most people are giving it 8s, and there are some 9s. You
yeah.
know, stuff like that.
So you gave it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Oh.
And then
I need to actually sit down and watch Vinland Saga, man. I gotta. It like that first episode was so good, and I was like, damn, I want to keep watching.
So I've heard really good things about the manga, and now I know that the anime is out. Like, I'll have to give that a watch. The other thing that I started watching was the daily life of the Immortal King. Which
that's a Chinese one, right?
It is, yeah. So it's my first. I think are they called manhwas? I think that's what they're called.
I'm gonna sound dumb or mean, but I thought they were called webtoons.
Okay, sure. But yeah, so first Chinese anime that I've watched. Like the voices are very obviously stylistically different, which is interesting. I've had a really fun time with this anime so far. I'm about halfway through season 1.
Okay.
I stumbled across this because a big comedy anime that I like is SAIKA, and one of the things that I like about SAIKA is like he's the main character, but he absolutely does not want to be the main character. Right. So I'm like, okay, what's a show that's kind of like that? And Daily Life of the Immortal King definitely hits those marks for me, where it's like this dude's he's just God. Like that's just what he is pretty much. But you know, it's harder going to high school than it is being God.
Yeah, what a great parallel. It reminds me a bit of it came out around the same time as Tower of God and God of High School, but I believe it was called there's like the Demon King of High School.
Yeah. That was the one where the guy was like, you thought by killing me that I was dead.
Yeah, and he's fighting him, and he like just literally resurrects his brother just to have him kill him.
Yeah. No, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
I think it's Demon Lord of High School or something like that.
Oh God.
I watched like the first episode, and it reminded me so much of SAIKA because just from the get-go, he was born and he was like, yeah, I'm all powerful, and his parents are like, that's so exciting.
So it's the greatest demon lord is reborn as a typical nobody.
No, that's not the one I'm talking about.
Oh, it's not the one you're talking about? Which one is so many demon lord animes? It's crazy.
I believe it's like Demon King High School or something.
King
the
High
misfit
School.
of Demon King Academy.
There we go.
That's what I was talking about. The misfit of Demon King Academy. He's born and he's just all powerful, and then his parents are like, "This is so great," you know, just like SAIKA.
Yes, here it is. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's like,
I know Smoldegord. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, and the guy's like, "Oh, I can intimidate you with this kind of magic." He's like, "I know all magic. I can do it all. You're a little bitch. Also, I'm gonna resurrect your brother because, you know, fuck it, fight him as a zombie."
Yeah, it's on my watch list. Where I have like all my stuff tabbed. I forgot about that anime. That was a really good one.
Yeah. I failed to mention he killed his brother right in front of him and then resurrected him just because he could. Like, what a flex for one. Yeah, I didn't even watch it all. I just watched like the first few episodes, but it gave me such SAIKA vibes. I thought
it's a good watch. It's pretty funny.
There's one that my girlfriend and I watched. Well, she watched all of it, and I was sitting here kind of watching it, kind of not.
You were there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was there for it. I watched a good amount of it, but it's the new Netflix original. I believe it's Romance Killer or Romantic Killer.
I have seen. Okay, so my fiance and I are watching that. We've gotten through the first 4 episodes. Honestly, it looks really good. Very much like that zany kind of vibe of like, this is just gonna be an absolute shit show
Yeah.
of an anime. Also, I cannot relate to a character more when that stupid little potato wizard was like, we're taking your cat, chocolate, and video games. And she's like, just kill me, please.
Yeah, dude. Her reactions to everything are so great because they're so relatable. I won't spoil anything for you. It's kind of hard to spoil, really, because that's the whole concept, right? This magic little creature is like, get out there and get a love interest, and she's like, yeah, she's like, I don't wanna, and then she keeps throwing these love interests at her, and she's like, I'm gonna make them think I'm disgusting and not want to be with me.
And he's like, why is this so difficult?
Yeah. It's a good one. I definitely recommend it. I didn't even watch it all, but I recommend it to anyone because it's, as any gamer, nerd, or recluse or neat, I think is what they call them, otakus. It's relatable. It's like, but like the thing for me that I find so funny in anime is slapstick humor, physical humor, and the thing that will make me laugh most is when people are normal looking, and then on a flip of a dime, their face gets all like distorted or ugly or like shocked or whatever. And there's a lot of that, and it made me laugh. I didn't finish it, but I got the synopsis. It gets real, which is surprising, but.
Yeah, those types of animes tend to get have like those serious moments kind of sprinkled in there, but it's nothing too bad.
So, if you were given the option, would you want a cat girl or a bunny girl?
Well, my fiance's kind of already a cat girl, so
so a bunny girl.
Well, so yeah, absolutely. No, honestly, I'm probably more of a cat girl type thing, just because bunny girls are all right, but we have more of a sample size of cat girls.
Correct.
And that I just.
Like Felix from ReZero.
Yes, Felix is absolutely a cat girl.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
top
not
tier.
A boy.
Top tier.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like I need to be more combative. I think I need to stop being so sympathetic or understanding of people's takes because I want to argue. I really want to. It's just hard because, I agree with a lot of things or I can understand a lot of things. But if you were to say, like, I wouldn't even know. If you were to say something like, Nami isn't even best girl in One Piece, I'd be like, well, then who? And then you say someone that definitely isn't even considerable. Then I'd probably be argumentative. But it would really just be like, well, you're wrong because my pick is what's right. So,
do you like bunny girls better than cat girls?
No, I agree. I mean, I can't even think of actual bunny girls. I can just think of bunny girls.
Yeah, I can't. But that's just a suit.
Yeah.
Granted, a very nice bunny suit, but
Yeah.
She's not a bunny.
Oh,
so.
how about maid girl or cat girl? I guess would be.
So like a maid, like a girl in a maid costume.
Yeah, like a maid cafe girl.
Compared to a cat girl.
Compared to Phoenix.
Ooh. Um.
I'm thinking
Man, there
Maid
was that
Sama.
show. There was that show. Was it Maid Sama? I don't remember. I forget what it was called, but there was a maid cafe where the maids were different type. They were like different types of maids.
That's Blend
So
S.
Blend-S,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
I
Sadistic
really like
surprise,
that
yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, the OP to that show is great.
Yeah. Oh my
Um,
god, everybody listening right now, look up Blend S OP and tell me that it does not sound exactly like Mario. Bro, every time I hear it, I'm like, "Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na." And that's exactly how it goes. That's the tempo. But yeah, Blend S is good because every single episode is like, here's a new character, and here's why they're fucking weird, right? But then here's the archetype that they fit into. I didn't.
so for me, maid girls over cat girls, I would say.
Right on. I was thinking Maid Sama, which came out in 2010. But I don't know why, but Maid Sama, the main character, just has like the nicest like aesthetic to her, like the brown hair with the like kind of brownish golden eyes, which you see all the time, but for some reason she just looks so appealing for some reason.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah. I mean, oh, speaking of which, have you watched The Maid I Hired is Suspicious?
No, I haven't. What's that one about?
So I can't even tell you like the beginning of it because I kind of started watching it with my girlfriend and she would watch it every week. But this rich kid has a manor to himself. His parents aren't there. I don't even know if they died or if they went away, but they're not there. So he hires a maid, and the maid is this purple hair, a little darker skin, has like some moles or freckles, and like these bright purple eyes, and she just kind of like does things that he doesn't understand. The kid's like sick, like he's got to be like 10 years old, maybe even younger. But the maid is just like wowzers. So hearing me explain it, kind of weird, but when you watch it, you're like, okay, right? Like we've watched animes that are weirder than that, right? Like Jobless Reincarnation, right? That's a man within a little boy, right?
Yeah, I mean,
but
you know,
the maid that I hired is suspicious or something like that. It's just like the relationship between them two, her referring to him as master, but not really doing it the way that she's supposed to, and he's very suspicious of her, right?
okay.
It's pretty popular. It's a new season. I want to say last season. I think it might be done. I don't know how many episodes, but it might have either just finished or it's about to finish. But it's cute. You know, he's just a kid that is trying to get through life, and his maid is just strange, but also oddly wholesome, but can also be totally inappropriate because she doesn't understand what he actually wants. So she does things thinking that that's what he wants, but he's like, what the hell are you doing? This isn't... She's like, oh, my bad. It's cute. I don't know. It's just... It's a new one that's, you know, that is fairly popular.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
An anime that's very popular amongst, you know,
Classroom.
romantic comedy viewers, and I'm not sure if you've watched, but I recently just finished with my fiance Quintessential Quintuplets.
Season 2?
Yeah. So we watched season 1 and season 2, and there's a movie that's coming out. I think the movie finishes everything up, so you get to learn who he marries. I know that the manga's done, so the ending's probably there, and my fiance's looked up who he ends up with.
Oh.
And I just hope, I don't know myself. I hope it's one of 3 of them. I hope it's not Ichika or Itsuki.
Okay.
And I don't think that he will end up with them. Ichika she played really dirty at points when it came to trying to get Futaro's love. And I just didn't respect that. And Itsuki, they just feel like more friends than they do, you know, love interest.
Can I ask you this?
Yeah.
Does the main guy character have a like guide friend or best friend?
He does not. He the closest thing to a friend or like someone who that he would rely upon is his younger sister, Raiha.
Okay. That's who he ends
up
with.
No. No, I hope it's either Miku, Nino, or Yotsuba. And I'm thinking it's probably gonna be either Nino or Yotsuba. Just because they all had various confessions to him throughout the show. But Miku, when the show set it up where she was like, and I love you. And it was like, it looked like she was pointing to him. But her sisters were behind him, and she was pointing to them instead. And he was like, "You love me," and she was like, "No, I love my sisters. Did you think I meant you?"
Oh, God.
And I was just like, I was such a Miku fan, but at that point, I was just like,
yeah.
like, you ruined it. You botched it. You absolutely flubbed it. Like, so,
dude, done dirty.
Right. Whereas Nino was like just straightforward, like, I love you. Like, there's not gonna be many girls who love you, and guess what? I'm it. Yeah. So,
nice.
I'm
kind of an
gonna
insult, but also.
Yeah. No, I mean that's who she kind of was, right?
Yeah. Baka.
And then Yotsuba, like, she kind of jokingly she was the first to say I love you, but she was like just kidding.
Oh my God.
Which I mean, maybe she meant just kidding, maybe not.
Dude, based on what you said before, how could you enjoy this anime? Because you told me that you're like, I hate being played around with, and I just want them to be together.
Okay. Yes, yes. I just want them to be together. That is absolutely true. But think about it. Kaguya-sama is my number 2, and they didn't confess to each other until the end of season 3. And it's like, I could go through the turmoil, right? If I see the light at the end of the tunnel, or if there's just funny stuff going on, right? So Kaguya-sama is my exception because week to week, it's like, oh, we're making a skit out of this.
Yeah.
Like, we're competing, like, we're playing 5D chess in our brains about how do I make him confess to me.
Yeah.
Like,
this just sounds like torture, man. Like.
Whereas Quintessential Quintuplets was like, yes, it was a little torturous at times, but like, beneath the romance, there was a good show. There were some good comedy elements to it. I liked each of the quintuplets for different reasons, and I liked the main character because there's a lot of character growth there as well. And characters that I didn't like at first, I started liking towards the end. And characters that I liked at the beginning, I was like, you suck.
Yeah.
So when the movie comes out, I'm definitely going to try and see it in theaters. Because it's only in theaters December 2nd.
One day?
Yeah, one day.
Dang.
So, fingers crossed. I'm hoping that from the trailer, it looks like the end of their 3rd year, so the end of high school, and they do that festival.
Yes.
And then the wedding stuff. And so it's like, okay, so this looks like it's gonna be done after the movie. So 2 seasons in a movie ain't bad for a romantic anime. And it's just like, please let it be Nino or Yotsuba. Yeah. I will take either of those. If it's any of the other 3, because Miku killed me with her confession. I'll be a little upset.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. For everybody that's listening, if you are in our area, I'm not gonna say where, but if you are in our area, be careful on would you say December 2nd?
December 2nd, yeah.
On December 2nd, going to any movie theater to see this movie, because if it is not what Matt hopes it to be, then there are going to be casualties.
Right.
Yeah. So just be aware. And if you see it on the news, I knew nothing. I didn't know anything.
Look. There are sects of people that, Miku best girl, Nino best girl, Yotsuba best girl. I'm sure there are some best girl fans for the other two, but it's much smaller than those three, I think.
Yeah.
I
would probably be one of those, honestly.
Yeah, whatever happens, people are gonna be pissed. It's like in any show, right? But I feel it more in this show because it's like the show just slaps you. It's like, bam, 5. Yeah. You got 5 girls, and one of them's gonna win.
Yeah. Jesus, Family Feud.
And it's like, so there are 4 losers.
Yeah.
So watch out, everybody.
Yeah. Well, I want to, since we're almost at the hour mark, and you are officially against your will my new co-host, because I had to get rid of the last one.
Yeah, what happened to that guy?
He said One Piece was mid, so I just had to.
Okay, a proper execution for sure.
I don't know. I think it would be fun. It'll help us with every episode, but 2 things. One, I guess, suggest an anime that we've suggested plenty of animes to each other. Probably acting on those for the week. Say like a minimum of 3 to 5 episodes to, one, give it a try. If you like it, then you'll keep watching it for the week after, or just give it a try, just so we have something to talk about. You would tell me one, and then I would tell you one, and then also just at the end, well, I guess I would say like recommend to the audience an anime, just any recommendation, like check it out kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So one that I would recommend. Ooh, this is okay. So just a general.
Well, let's do like to each other, like what we would recommend to each other, and then the ones that we recommend to everybody else separately.
Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. Have you seen The World Only God Knows?
No.
Okay. So
that's my task for the week.
Yes. So let me here's a kind of synopsis of it. Mm-hmm. See, so you're following Keima, who's a high school student. He is just the #1 romantic game player, like in Japan. Nice. In high school, like he knows all the past, like he can romance anybody.
Yeah, hell yeah.
In a video game.
That's
he's called the Divine Capturer because he can romance anybody.
Hell yeah.
On a video game. And he's visited by this demon girl who's like, hey, there are people getting possessed by demons and you have to save them.
Okay.
How are you gonna save them? By romancing.
Oh my god, yes. Yes, I love that.
So he's like, why do I have to romance real life girls? 2D girls are where it's at. And
have you been looking at my Steam game library?
And there are consequences to it when this stuff doesn't happen. Okay. And so he's like, fine, I'll do it. And there's 3 seasons in this anime. Okay. And the evolution is just, I love it. It's so good. It's just such a fun little anime.
The World God Only Knows?
The world God only knows.
Okay.
Yes.
And when did this come out?
This came out. Let's see here.
Is this early 2010s, 2000s, recent?
So it looks like the manga was in 2009. The anime came out in fall of 2010.
Okay.
So a little older, but
Okay. Hey,
just
I mean, 2010 had some banger animes, dude.
oh yeah.
I mean, Angel Beats came out 2010. K-On! Season 2 was 2010.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Angel Beats.
Yeah.
I fucking love Angel Beats.
Damn, I'm gonna zoom in on that. Okay, right on. Yeah. So I'll watch at least 3 to 5 episodes. And if I'm enjoying it, I'll keep watching it for future updates.
Yes.
The one that I would recommend to you, there's only 11 episodes, and there's 2 movies. And I've talked about it with you before, but I don't think you've seen it. It's Eden of the East. I know that I've mentioned it to you before, though.
I have not watched Eden of the East.
Okay.
So I will definitely put that on the list.
I recommend this to you so much because I think you would love it. Because it is so slice of life romancy, but it also just has this big twist of being so, like, not unrealistic, but like just things that don't happen in our lives. It's realistic how they would happen, but this would never happen.
Ooh, 2009. Okay. That's
damn.
That is
almost
good.
2010. Shit.
We like that. Yeah.
Oh, Maid Salma came out in 2010. I already said that though. But yeah, I recommend that so much. There's 11 episodes. Quick synopsis is this girl goes to America abroad from Japan with some of her friends. She goes to see the White House, gets stopped by a police officer by throwing a rock at the White House. Obviously, she doesn't hit the White House because, well, yard is so big, but she attempts to, throws a rock. Police officer stops her, and the police officer gets distracted by this random naked dude that's across the street. For some reason, just naked dude. And the naked dude kind of helps the girl out, and they get away, and then he has amnesia. He has no idea who he is. The last thing he remembers is waking up naked in front of the White House.
Okay.
That's basically the first 10 minutes of the first episode. And they intermingle, and he goes to Japan with her. Doesn't really know why. She doesn't know why, but she just is kind of amazed by him, right? Obviously, what a great first impression. But just kind of amazed by him and interested in him. The art is very pretty.
So that in 2 movies. Okay. I see King of Eden and then Paradise Lost.
Yes. And they are continuations of the story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's my recommendation to you. I hope you love. I think you will, just because of how I know like what you like in anime.
Honestly, like for anime, I'm of the opinion that I think anime deals with topics better than any television show can.
Yeah.
So I think anime is better than real TV. And for me, I'm not a heavy critic of things. I will very rarely give things below a 5, because normally I'll just watch stuff, and if I feel like I watched an anime, it's a 5, you know? 'Cause it's like, didn't do anything bad, didn't do anything
If you
good,
didn't finish
right?
it, then it's less than 5.
Yeah, I normally won't finish stuff if I try to really push through, and I'm like, this is bad. Maybe it gets better. No, it didn't get better. It's definitely worse than a 5.
Yeah. I'm very easily entertained. I'm the same way. If I don't finish it, then it didn't grab me. But I'm also very bad at finishing anime. So like Violet Evergarden, I enjoyed the first 2 episodes that I saw, and I want to watch more. I just didn't. because I'm lazy and easily distracted. But I'm very easily entertained by anime, but I also have a very I can step outside my own personal biases to give proper criticism to things. Like when I was younger, I wanted to be a movie critic because I, took a lot of video film classes, a lot of photography, a lot of cinematography stuff, lessons. So I can easily criticize something. Like I could criticize an anime that I ended up really liking, but I'm able to point out the negatives and not try to beat around the bush on them. I'll be straight up. Yeah, cool. So that's I'm putting them right above us, our tasks. And my recommendation.
Yeah, go for it.
My recommendation for anybody out there who hasn't watched it is Haikyuu.
My man. Haikyuu for all, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, that's my.
You want to fly high? Get to season 2 of Haikyuu.
Yes. If you want to hear one of the best openings out there, watch Haikyuu.
Don't Google it. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You have to watch 24 episodes of Haikyuu, and then you can listen to it.
Yeah, and then you can listen to it. You have to listen to other good intros and outros before you can get to that one.
Look, I could probably do an entire episode on Haikyuu just like talking about that show, because for those that don't know, it's my #1 anime of all time. I love it so much. It's just, it's a masterpiece.
And knowing this and never watching it, but also never really watching sports anime, I finally gave it a shot and I've watched it all. I've watched everything that's out. It's good. It's better than Kuroko no Basket by a long
oh yeah,
shot.
for sure, for sure. Yeah.
The only other sports anime I've ever watched. So yeah. What about your recommendation?
So for me, I'm gonna do an isekai, but I'm gonna do an isekai that like actually does it different than others. So I'm gonna recommend How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom.
Newer?
Newer, yes. So basically, I think the main problem that people have with isekai is just it's the same. It's the same every single time, right? You have overpowered hero that comes in, saves the kingdom somehow, gets the harem, like the yada do.
The story doesn't get finished, and it never does.
So this guy gets isekai'd in, and no powers or anything, right? And he just becomes the king of the kingdom because the king's like, I give it, like, here, you do it, you solve our problems. We're in like economic crisis, like the village is, like the kingdom is poor, there's war going on and all this stuff. And the guy comes in and instead of being like, I'm just gonna superpower everything back to normal, he's like, your government shit. Like I'm gonna fix all the fucking problems that we have. Like, why are you spending all of your money on this? You should have a crop economy. Like, you aren't preparing for the winter properly. Like, this is all things that are like very realistic solutions to bad government. This guy comes in and is like, cool, let's do this.
Crap economy? More like crop economy. Let's get it.
And he's like, hey, are you talented? Like, do you have a talent? I want that. Like, come to my kingdom and we will pay you for your talent. And it's just like, it's very good because it's kind of like, he's definitely just using his brain to solve problems. Like, he's a smart dude. And it's very refreshing to the isekai genre. Is there a bit of a harem? Yeah, but it's more like...
You gonna complain?
Yeah, it's not as big of an isekai harem as you think it might be. I think it ends up being like 3 people. Okay. It's 3 or 4. Whereas, you have stuff like In Another World with My Smartphone, and you end up with like 9 people, and it's like, why?
Dude, talk about shit anime.
dude, I barely have enough energy for one woman. I don't know how these
Yeah.
people can like.
Am I right? Am I right?
I'm sure women feel the same way about men, where it's like, oh my god, these guys are just so fucking tiring.
Yeah.
Like,
You know what? I'm just gonna get a boyfriend for my boyfriend, and they can go
Yeah.
have fun together. All right, right on. Well, great first episode with you as permanent queen of the castle, and yeah, thank you all for joining us. We will be back next week with more anime discussions and an update on the animes that we've tasked each other with. And yeah, how about you give us an outro?
did you all know that Pot of Greed allows me to draw 2 cards?